Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. This episode is April on a walk, and because we're friends, I'm imagining us together out walking. There have just been some things on my mind and in my heart that I thought might be helpful to share with you today. So as I'm out walking, Sunny, we will just have a little chat. The topic is about fitting the puzzle of our lives together. So a lot of times our days and weeks and months and years feel a little bit like a puzzle. You're trying to fit in the things that you've planned, the things that you want to do to move towards your goals. Then there's unexpected needs that come up, and there's interactions with the people around you, and then maybe the world changes with either something in the economy or something like a pandemic. And so we have to be flexible, yet also have some kind of structure, or else it's really hard to be able to have anything that feels predictable or reliable and that type of thing. So as we're trying to organize our lives, being able to and skilled at putting a puzzle together is actually a really important part. And a little story came to mind this morning, so I thought I'd just share with you what I used to do. Oh, this was probably over 15 years ago, but I used to write and direct road shows. Well, I've done 2 of them, and basically they're little skits that our church youth groups put on, and they're usually something like, 7 or 8 youth groups, and then they would perform them the same evening at 3 different buildings in the same city. And they would, perform on a stage and then pack everything up and then perform on the next stage, pack everything up, perform on the next one. Everyone would rotate so that the 3 locations saw all 7 or 8 skits. But, you got to perform them a few times. So anyway, I did them growing up. I performed in them with my youth group. I thought they were so fun. And then when Eric and I had Aaliyah, I was home full time with her, and I was like starving for something to do with my brain because my hands were busy, but I wanted something fun to work on. And our church had asked, hey, does anyone want to help with the road show? And I remember I signed up and said, yes, I will help with blocking and writing and anything you need, costumes. I was so excited. So anyway, they asked me to be in charge of it. And so I did this first one back in, I think, 2001 or 2000. And then I did a second one when I was pregnant with Spencer. So this was 2007. And the reason I did that one was because the person who was in charge of the script had selected a script. There were some great ones online at the time, once the internet started becoming a bigger deal. And but another youth group had already selected that one, so they were kind of in a bind and needed a new script. And I had time and morning sickness, and I was just laying around anyway. And I thought, okay, I will help to write this little roadshow. Anyway, both of the road shows I wrote actually, won awards for like best overall. And I'm not recording this to brag about my road show. If you saw the videos, you'd be not like super impressed. They were amazing, but they did both win overall. And I started thinking back, why did these road shows win? What was it? Because they weren't. My writing wasn't that amazing. There wasn't really anything that was that awesome that I did. But there were some commonalities between those 2 road shows. And essentially what happened is I was able to put the puzzle together. And the puzzle pieces were things like how many of these, young men, young women were going to be participating. So the script was written so everyone could participate. And then I also specifically wrote the script to be featuring the skills of the students that were going to be performing. So for example, in the one I did in the year 2000, this girl had this amazing voice, and she could just sing, and she kind of had a fun, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but she could do all the fun things with her voice that I can't do with mine. And so we wrote up this really fun part of a song that she got to sing that featured her. We also had, my co-director was an amazing choreographer. So she choreographed this great dance, and we had several people who wanted to do it. We also had this group of high school boys who didn't want to dance and they didn't want to sing, But we thought, you know what, they would love to dress up like superheroes and flex their muscles. They were all really athletic. So we had this little section of the road show where they dressed up with capes and, kind of Superman type logos. And then they did this little performance. It was kind of like a dance, but mainly just they were kind of flexing and just having fun and doing these little flips. Anyway, it was cute. So super simple, but we worked it out for them. And we had a lot of students who didn't want to sing or dance and didn't even really want to participate. So we set up this one part that was like a little fashion show. So they got dressed up in, 80s clothes to this one song, and then they could walk with a partner, down the red carpet or whatever. And so we set things up so that the people who wanted to shine had a chance to shine. And the people who wanted to be in the background had a fun way to participate where they were still in the background. Oh, and one little final story. There was one boy in the one that I did in 2007, and he kind of thought, road shows were lame. I get it. High school, I don't know if my sons would have loved road shows. But he was a great drummer and percussionist. And so we thought, hey, what if we had one of the songs be a stomp? And so we had it, so they all kind of like at Disneyland, where they'll have people who are dressed as the custodial crew who will come out with their buckets and drumsticks and do kind of a stomp type thing. So we did that. Really, really fun. And so he was, at every practice, totally participating, getting the other guys involved, teaching them what he knew. It was really, really fun. So I had these two great experiences with these road shows, and as I thought about it and realized, okay, it was because I put the puzzle together, I started thinking, well, how does that apply to our lives, like to our days, to our years? How does that work? So first, I just want to talk a little bit about the daily puzzle. When I look at my day, typically, and it's probably like you, I think about, well, okay, what's on my calendar for today? What appointments do I have? And then what are flexible tasks that have to be done today? So those are, kind of the first things I typically block out in the day. And then what are my routines? What are the morning routines, afternoon routines, evening routines that I keep going mostly every day, exercise, time with God, when I rest, when I walk Sunny, when I spend time with Eric, when I make phone calls, right? Healthy eating, things like that. So when you have your calendar and your routine together, then it's kind of like a puzzle fitting in things like next actions. We talk about the next actions list, errands for the week, phone calls for the week, items to discuss, computer tasks, things like that. Also, when am I going to work on my current projects? I usually set aside some project time every day, but deciding which projects to work on is also a little bit like a puzzle, because sometimes it depends on my energy. It depends on, my hormones or my mood. And sometimes it also will depend on, well, what happened that day? Did someone knock at the door? Did I get a certain text or call? Did something happen in the business, or did some tech issue pop up that we need to address? Or how's Eric doing? Is he excited today and he's working independently on some stuff? Or does he want to hang out with me a little bit more today because he just feels like, hey, hanging out with his wife? So, and then also right now we are not in the young child years, because that was a whole different element of puzzle fitting together. Who needs a nap? Who's cranky? Does someone have a cold? Is there a play date? Does a neighbor need a babysitter? All those things that would happen. So when you can have some structure in your day with your calendar and your routines and some basic things you do, and then you can kind of think of your day as a puzzle, like how do I create strong boundaries so I protect my mental and physical health, but how do I create some flexibility so I can be present if one of my children wants to talk, or if a good friend calls me and I have some time to just visit on the phone, or if a neighbor, we have this cute neighbor, she's 4, and I have these little dolls that she likes, so she comes over and rings my doorbell sometimes and says, can you play? And I love it. I can't always play, but I love that she wants to come over and play with my little dolls. How fun is that? So anyway, when I think about each day kind of as a puzzle, we've talked about the multiple choice perfect day a lot before, where there's a lot of things that you could do every day, but we don't have time to do everything every day. So when you think about the day being a multiple choice type of thing, where, okay, today I'm going to go on a little run, or today I'm going to go out to lunch, or today I'm just going to stay home and take it easy, right? Or today I'm going to do a ton of computer work, and I might be on the computer more than usual, but I'm excited about a certain project I'm doing. Or like today, I'm recording a podcast while I'm out on a walk. I don't usually do this, but I just felt like doing it today. So, but when you don't put the pressure on yourself, like, oh, I have to do all things all the time for everybody and do everything perfectly, it takes that pressure off, and that's why we call it the multiple choice perfect day. It can be a perfect day, even when you don't do exactly what you thought you would or hoped you would, but when you're able to be kind of flexible and piece that puzzle together. But then I just want to talk a little bit about the bigger life puzzle. That's something that I'm in the middle of right now, because Eric and I joined this coaching group, and we get together with them a few times in person each year, and we do calls, and we have a Slack channel and things like that, and we listen to all these speakers. We're reading books together, we're learning from each other. They do these fireside chats in the Facebook group. I mean, my brain is kind of exploding, and it's all about online business. And so it's really, really helpful to me to learn what other people are doing and to learn what I could do. You know, that's how I heard about the YouTube course that we took to learn about how to build our YouTube channel. We're learning all these things about how to do different types of advertisements, different types of social media work, things they can do with our podcast, with our Facebook group, all the things that are really, really important to me in strengthening and supporting our Learn, Do, Become community. But as I'm learning all these things, I can't obviously go implement everything I learn the minute I learn it. And so I feel like I'm trying to put this puzzle together with Eric, where we're trying to identify, okay, first of all, what are the needs of our marriage? So we can both be mentally and physically healthy and enjoy being together, and not just put a bunch of stress on ourselves that's going to end up prioritizing something like work over a marriage and a family. So that's been something we've been talking about a lot, because we really want to preserve our quality of life and the pace that we move, so it feels really happy to both of us. And so we have fun together, so we're relaxed together, so we can laugh and work. And and Eric and I are a little in a unique situation because we're together a lot. We work together, we're home together all day, we build the business together, we work on the house together. He does laundry, I do more of the grocery type stuff, and I do more clean the inside, he does all the outside landscaping, things like that. But we're very much united. So pretty much every decision that I make at Learn, Do, Become starts with, well, how's Eric doing? What is Eric interested in? And how is this going to impact our quality of life and our marriage? And then it's looking at our children. What are our children's needs right now? And right now our youngest is 14 and our oldest is married and 22. We have two young adult, college age kids. And we love them, and we want to be able to have time to talk with them, to visit with them, to learn from them, to have fun together, and to continue to build those family relationships. And what's so fun is our 14-year-old, right now he's a counselor in training at a scout camp. So he's been gone for about a week, and Eric and I have never been home alone, ever, for more than, a few hours, maybe a day, since we had our first child. We've gone away, but we've never been home alone. So this has been amazing to get things organized and clean and everything. But I love that our 14-year-old, once he gets back, he is very conversational. Like, he called me the other night and said, "Hey, Mom, I want to hear about your week. How are you doing? Tell me what you've been up to." And I just thought, okay, wow. When I was 14, I don't think I ever called my mom and asked how she was doing. And so when he's home, he's excited to talk to me. He loves cars. He's always telling me about cars and their engines and how they drift and who the best racers are. He wants to show me things. He has a lot of questions. He has a lot of really good thoughts. He has experiences at school he wants to talk about. And I love that, because I only have a few more years left with him, and the fact that he wants to talk and wants to be present with me, I just feel like that's a gift. So a lot of what I'm choosing to do in the rest of my life, also has to consider Spencer, right? And my time with him. And then, then there's other things like, okay, what do we want to say with our lives? What are the causes that matter most to us? once, our lives come to an end, what messages, what information, what do we want to leave? What is it that we would want our grandchildren to have or great-grandchildren to have? Or what are the things that we feel like God has helped us to learn and do that we could share and teach so that maybe other people could have a little lift and be able to improve their quality of life and not have to go through some of the struggles that we had to go through. So it's kind of a puzzle, but I was reading this book called Evolve Your Brain by Joe Dispenza. I think is so good. And one of the things that I learned in that book was that when you create this vision for your life, you create this vision of your life that you have just fallen in love with, that when you wake up in the morning and you picture your life like this, you just feel almost Twitter-pated. You're so excited about it. And then I kind of think about that vision like the front of a puzzle. So, when you're working on a puzzle and you put the little box right there in front of you, so when you see a piece, you can kind of see where it would fit. So that's how our brains, according to this book, that's how our brains look at the vision we've created for our lives. And so when I think about that book, and I think about my vision, and I think about this little puzzle, like the completed puzzle that I'm imagining, then as I work through my days and weeks and months, I'm trying to get that puzzle to appear. I'm trying to learn the things I need to learn so that I can make certain things happen. Or I'm trying to get to know certain people who can help point me in the right direction. Or I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone and do things that maybe feel a little uncomfortable. Even right now, as I'm recording this, I'm always like, do I publish these podcasts? It's super out of my comfort zone, mainly because people often misunderstand things I say, or people maybe are having a hard day and they read things into it, and so I'm just trying to minimize the craziness that might result from me putting a podcast out there. But okay, hopefully you guys can all just roll with it and give me the grace that that I think you would want offered for you as well. So anyway, now that I got on that tangent, I'm kind of forgetting where I was. But essentially, I'm just saying that as I'm thinking about that finished puzzle and I'm trying to do this work that's going to lead me there, one of the things I learned in that book by Joe Dispenza was that your brain loves that kind of challenge. Putting a puzzle together, it's like what your brain was made to do. And so even just by dreaming about something, thinking about it, envisioning it, wishing for it, spiritually creating it before it's physically created, then your brain will just jump into action and slowly start leading you there. And you'll start making decisions that will lead you in that direction. So even Garrick and I went to the library together last week, and we're walking around the library shelves. And as I'm looking at books, I'm recognizing, hey, now my brain is searching for books that are going to help me to develop into the person who will, become that finished puzzle. And it changes the way I pray. It changes the way that I think or let myself kind of get down on myself or not. So those are things I'm working on, is that the minute I notice my brain starting to, I'm feeling discouraged, or, this is too hard, or whatever, I'm learning how to immediately switch that and stop the, negative, and be able to think, what could I do right now? Do I need a rest right now? Do I need a walk? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to read a great book? Do I need to just dive in and work on this project? Do we need to change our projects? Make some adjustments? So anyway, I know life often is a puzzle, and sometimes we feel puzzled, right? When we can't get everything figured out and put together. And I also know that sometimes when we think big, it starts to kind of weigh on us. I feel like this should be a whole different episode, but I'll tell the quick story. So I wrote out, I spent hours over the course of a couple of weeks on this little project, putting together a new daily reminders note of the vision of who I want to be. And I went through all of my past vision boards, all of my past, reminder notes from 7 to 8 years. And so I really put time and effort saying, what are the goals and ideas and dreams that keep coming back to me, regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of if I'm healthy or not, regardless of the mood of the people around me. What are the consistent dreams that I just feel are always inside of me that I think were, given to me by God? What are those? So I worked really, really hard and put together this note that when I wrote it out, I felt really good about it. And then I recorded myself a little podcast. So just like I'm doing right now, I opened my phone, I got out my voice memo, and I read all the parts of it into a voice memo. And it's about 20 minutes long. And then I started playing it for myself every night when I went to bed. While I was blow drying my hair, I'd put in little earbuds and listen to it. Sometimes while I was getting ready in the morning, I was listening to it. So I started listening to it for, 2 to 3 days. And then I had a hard day where I didn't have a lot of energy. Eric was kind of grumpy. I was kind of grumpy. Some things weren't going right. A bunch of just tech issues happened with our website. It was stuff like that. It was all of these things at once. And I just kind of crashed. And I just said, Eric, my vision, and I don't usually use the word crap a lot, but I think I did. I was like, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. Why am I even doing this? And then it goes to these questions. Why would God give me these ideas when I can't do it? I was just in this state where I didn't even want to listen to the vision anymore because it made me so mad, because I just thought, man, this vision I have is so big and so hard, and I'm so small and so inadequate, and things are never going to go right. I just started feeling like that. So I took a break for a while and I stopped listening to my vision. And Eric was a little worried about me because I just kind of crumbled a little bit. I was feeling pretty discouraged, because I put so much time and energy into creating this, and I was so excited about it. And then I just couldn't do it. And the reason I share this is because I know there are some times, I know this for sure because I read these comments where people will come in, like to our STEP program, for example, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to get super organized and I'm going to put the STEP program into place and I'm going to build my command central. And then something happens in their life where they need a surgery, or they have a loved one who dies, or they're in a car accident, or something happens at work, or someone gets laid off their job, or one of their children becomes suicidal, or like some heartache happens. And I hear them from you guys all the time. So I know what I'm talking about here. And I know probably you who are listening are like nodding your head saying, yeah, I've been there. And so then sometimes it's easy to say, well, then why am I trying? Why am I trying to put this puzzle together when clearly I'm not cut out to do it, or I'm not able to do it, or it's just too hard for someone like me? But I've also watched our community members keep going and keep trying, and maybe take a break for a bit and then come back and say, okay, that might not have been the best time, but that's okay. I'm going to keep trying. And so I've been doing the same thing. I just recently started listening to my audio again, slowly at first, because I thought, I could edit this thing. It doesn't have to be overwhelming if if it feels bad. But I started listening again, and I've started telling myself, you know what? I was really, really prayerful when I put all of this together. And sure, maybe not all of this will happen. And maybe it'll take 10 years for some of this to happen. Or maybe it'll be the next generation who will carry this on and do it. So it's okay if it's not me or all me. But I've started listening again and started thinking, you know what? Spending my life putting effort into trying to figure out this puzzle that I love, this end result that I'm really excited about, that I feel I was made to do. It's worth any frustration or setbacks or, any of the hard things I might have to go through. And then sometimes little things happen and sometimes I can't share it because it's not my story, it's someone else's story. But like today, for example, 2 really amazing things happened from other people. Actually, 3. 3 amazing things happened that I didn't have anything to do with. But all 3 of those things made my workload lighter and made this vision seem more doable. And as each thing happened, it was over the course of a few hours, each thing, I got the information about them. And I just started feeling this lift, like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this was coming, or I had no idea how much the other thing had been weighing on me. And now that it's off my shoulders, I feel so much lighter. And so those are, I feel like, these little mercies, from heaven, and however you define heaven or define, power, it's okay. We can have different views on that. But I just know that when you keep trying and you keep showing up and you keep working at it, you're going to start to see the little pieces of the puzzle fitting together. And I just feel grateful for it. I feel grateful to be here. I feel grateful to be able to help you on your journey. And anyways, I'm not trying to get all emotional here, but this is a big deal for me. This is like, I wake up in the morning thinking, okay, how do I help people get out of overwhelm? Eric and I were laughing because he's building his Command Central right now. We're doing our 4 weeks to finish program, and he's going through it. And he's doing awesome. It's so good. But he doesn't want me to tell him how awesome he's doing. He's like, just don't say anything. Just let me do it. Like, okay. So I'm here to help and watch and, support. But I'm just trying to kind of keep quiet and let him do his thing. But anyways, he's been working on this. He said, April, I don't wake up in the morning saying, I want a Command Central on every desk. He just said, that's not how I wake up. I said, I know, but that is how I wake up. I do wake up thinking that because I know what a difference it's going to make. I mean, just watching Eric as he's been getting things organized and cleaned. He made his current projects list. He got his next actions list ready. He's putting his routines together. His calendar's all put together. He is so light and creative and positive and optimistic and waking up excited. And I'm watching it happen in my own home, and I'm just thinking, okay, this is what every home needs. This is what each one of us needs. We need to wake up light, happy, knowing we can make a difference, recognizing that things are going to be hard around us, and sometimes really hard, and sometimes really tragic, and sometimes, heart-wrenching because we can't do anything about it. But when you can actually recognize what you can influence, and then you move forward and you have that, confidence that you can put together at least today's puzzle. I might not be able to fix the whole puzzle for my life right this minute, or even for the year, or even for the month, but I could do today's puzzle, and then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and there's going to be a new one to work on. But that's what makes life exciting. And that's what helps us to feel that thrill. And that's what helps us to be able to have the chance to be able to serve and to be able to feel that sense of meaning and purpose in our lives. When there's nothing to do and when no one needs you, it's really easy to get depressed. But when you have vision and you have energy and you have power, oh man, it just feels so good. So, all right, there you go. Thoughts on the walk with April. Sunny and I are going to head home now. But anyway, just sending lots of love. And okay, we'll see you soon. LearnDoBecome.com.